quizzes, test, questionnaire, they are one of the ways to test knowledge. And as developers, you are going to have such kind of requirements every now and then. So the challenge for this particular task is to create a quiz using React.js. But before we directly jump into coding, we are going to review how you're going to build using the component structure. So let's try and actually analyze this particular piece of, design. So at the top, normally you see the question that could be act as a one component for us. Then you have a answer list. So whether it's true or false, whether it's MCQs, you tend to have repetition of answers. One wrapper is your answer list. The second is obviously within the answer list, you will have answers. So that could act as a component. Then an answer could be right or wrong. So correct or incorrect. So let's suppose if you want to have score area within your questionnaire, then this score area could be another component. The correct and incorrect could be another form of components. Then this entire what you call as the quiz wraps around as questionnaire, and this particular top area could be the quiz area, while this area could be the score area. So that is how we're going to actually develop or create the components. So we're going to use this as a reference. We will have one class component that will be questionnaire. Then you have a quiz area, functional component, question as a functional component, answer as a functional component. Within the answers list, we will have different answers, so they will act as a functional component. Then score area, a wrapper as a functional component, correct and incorrect as a functional component. So okay, so let's just get started with the coding of this app. Firstly, we'll just remove this, make it blank. As normal, this is functional. And we're going to first create the folders. So one will be for obviously the API, via which API or the data in object form, you can say. And then other folder will be for the components. And within the components, as I actually described you, we're going to create the different using those component structure that I defined earlier. We're going to use that approach. So firstly, obviously the quiz area. So quiz area.js. Then we will have a questionnaire. In the questionnaire, it will be new file.questionnaire.js. Then we are going to have a question within them, and that be question.js. And then we'll have answers list. And within the answer list, we had answer. So that could be another component. Then we had what you call as the incorrect and the correct answer and the score area. So firstly, let's do the score area. Score area.js. Then you had the total correct ones. So total correct.js. Then you had the total incorrect ones. So that'd be another one. Then finally, if let's suppose once the user finishes up, we may prompt them something. So that could be called as a user greetings.js. So we are done with this. Remember that I mentioned you earlier about this extension ES7 React. You can download this if you haven't, and we're going to use the short codes from over here, as they're going to ease things up for us. So for example, if you want to create a React components with the export, we're going to use RCE. If you're going to do React component for functional component, so it's RFC, functional component. And if you are doing it, RFCE is for functional component with the export. So we're going to actually use them now. Let's just go back. So firstly, the questionnaire. So this was our class component. So you'll write React class, component, and the tab, and you got it. Only thing I want to change is, and one more thing, yes, RCE React class component with the export, so it creates that. So we're going to use this RCE, and we'll just change them for my own reference. So this is done. Rest of them are all React functional component, RFCE, and we got them. So we'll change this. And then in the answer is RFCE. Again, answer list is fine. And then RFCE question is fine even. Just we'll change this. Then in the questionnaire was all good. Quiz area RFCE, and we got the quiz area. So that's fine. Then score area RFCE score area. I'm gonna rename it again, and oops, there's a spacing issue. Just make sure that you follow this, because RFCE, because this is the way we are going to set the structure up. RFCE total incorrect. So total incorrect. Okay, so we're going to pause this, export. So that's user greeting RFCE. User greeting, I want to make U capital and G like that, and we are done with that. And in the app.js, I already have app.css, which I wanted, and this is the questionnaire which I'm going to import in the main as the main component. So this from slash component slash questionnaire. So once I do that, I'm going to create the component now. Okay, so we are good to go. In the component at the top, maybe we will have a heading JavaScript quiz. Okay, so let's see, it's functional. Next thing is obviously the API. I'll create a class called as data.js, and within it, I'm going to use one of the reference data set that I had. And I'm going to rename it to, I think dataset is better. So dataset.js. One I've already, I've just brought 3 questions for now. I will be sharing with you this particular link. It's GitHub gist, which obviously you can use it just to save your life in while, I don't want you to type. So what we have over here in the data set, it's basically an array. Within the array, we have objects. In the object, we have a question. We have options 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. Over here, it's 2. Over here, it's 3. And this is the correct answer. So for example, this question has the 0, 1, 2. Third option, which is obviously in the array, is 2. And over here, for example, the external file must contain a script. So for example, it's true. So it's false. So it could be this. And another question. And if let's suppose your first one is the correct answer, then 0. Just so we know 0, 1, 2. And so this is your data set is ready. We'll close this file for now. And we'll start now with the questionnaire. So we'll go to questionnaire. The first thing is, obviously, it's a class component. Let's just call the constructor. And over here, super. Okay, then obviously we will need states. And for that, what we will do it is, we'll have different state. One could be your current, what's your current state. Other could be your data set, and data set. We already have imported it over here from over here. So that's being done. Then within it, you will have correct answers or incorrect answers. So for now, obviously the user score is 0. Then your incorrect answers, obviously the zero, the initial state is 0. Whether the user has finished the questionnaire or not, that's also another state we require. So we have our states ready. Then within that, now we'll go and actually, what we can do it is we can import the quiz area, because in the whole questionnaire area we had the quiz. So let's import the quiz. Import quiz area from, okay. Over here we need a single dot, by the way. So just make sure within the folder you need a single dot, not two dots. Just be careful. Quiz area. So we have that, and we create an object over here. Also, we will require our score area at the bottom. So we want the score to appear at the bottom. Score area at the bottom. So score area. And what we'll do it is we'll just type in something over here to score area. Okay, that's a pairing. And H2 we will require quiz area. So that's another one. So pairing, good. Score area, quiz area is done. Then you have within the score area, you wanted the total correct and incorrect. So that's something we will need to do it. So let's just call them up. Import total correct from total correct, okay, and total incorrect. INC, okay, and over here INC. Okay, total correct, we'll replace this with total correct and total incorrect. So that's done. We'll go into total correct and we'll type in H2 total correct. And over here, we will go into total incorrect. Correct. So let's see, we are getting that. So quiz area, we had score area. In the score area, we actually will place some heading, score area. And within the score area, we had total correct and total incorrect. So that's done. In the quiz area, okay, so in the questionnaire, we had quiz areas, right? So we're getting that in the score area. So that's something we already have over there. So that's done. Next is, so we are done with this. We are done with the total correct. We are done with the total incorrect. Now, another stuff we can do it is user greeting. So in case when, let's suppose, user somehow completes, so we just say them thank you in the return. Thank you for completing the questionnaire. Okay, so that's the statement we will say in the end. So that's okay. Then apart from that, so we start by, so we got the questionnaire, we got the quiz. Oh, we needed the questions, obviously. So we'll import the quiz questionnaire. Within the questionnaire, we need the questions now. Quiz area defined, and that's good. Okay, so that's quiz area. Okay, yeah. So over here in the quiz area, you will need obviously the questions and the answers. So that's something we need to import. So let's do that. Import question question. Okay, and then we'll import answers list actually, because that's something we need to do it. Answers list we need to import, and in the answers list, and over here, obviously within this quiz area, I want to show that message of the user greeting one. So import user greeting from We have a mistake here. Yeah, now user greeting. So that's also done. Now we'll just call them over here, all of them. Question, answers, user greeting. Okay, I'm just going to go into each one of them now. Question should return me question for now. In fact, let's do a paragraph because that way at least we can track. So it's a question over here. And in the answers list, we will get the answer list over here. So that's done. Within the answer list, obviously you require the answers. So import answer from um, answer. Okay, so that's done. Now we have our importing all done. I know this is a lot of components here and there, but I think it's important to first complete this step. So I'll just go through over it once again. One is your questionnaire. In the entire questionnaire, we had the states, and within the questionnaire, we had the quiz area, which is the top area, and the scoreboard, which is at the bottom score area. And if you go inside each one of them, let's just go in the quiz area first. A quiz area has a question and the answer list and the user greeting. User greeting will be based on the states. So, for example, this message will appear only when the user has finished the particular quiz. So that's at the end. So we will obviously use the states in order to manage this. Then if you see the question, a question has a simple wordings. You can say this will be normal prop. We are going to pass on the prop over here to it to print the question. Then if you go back to quiz answer list, in the answer list we had we have imported the answer. The reason being we want to create a sort of a button so anyone can directly press 1, 2, 3, 4, any of the options, and will then move on to the next question. That's over there. And in the answers, obviously, we are going to have the buttons. In the score area, which was this button, you had two things: total correct and total incorrect. Total correct will show you the total number of answers that are correct, and the total incorrect will be the ones where you're going to have displayed the total incorrect questions. So we now move on to the quiz area. So firstly, from the questionnaire, we should pass on the props for the quiz. So the one could be for the data set, and the other one could be for the its finished state. So that's what we want to do. It we want to display this if in case it's finished, and display the question if the questionnaire is still in process. So firstly, let's just is finished would be in one state, and we'll pass on this dot state dot is finished. Basically, I'm passing on the props and using the same names just for the as a good practice. Is finished, and then data set over here will be this dot state dot data set. Okay, so let me check data set. Spelling is correct. Spelling is correct. So this is done. We now move on to where we are passing. We are passing it to quiz area. Over here on the quiz area, since it's a functional component, we're going to use props over here. And now we're going to actually check before returning whether user has finished the quiz or not. So that could be props dot is finished. If it's true, then you return in the simple say this particular piece user greeting at the top. Right, and then if it's not true, obviously this will continue the question in the answer list. Over here, we'll just remove this. In the question, we are going to pass on again the data set inside. So data set equals to, obviously you're seeing now that it's going inside one by one, like like uh, in this data set. We got the value from the props, and now we are passing it to the child component using it. So props dot data set will be passed on to the inside of this question. So question, we'll go over here now into the question area. In the question area, we will actually have now, we try and access this data set. So what we had in the data set, we had this question dot question. So we're going to use the props again, function component props, and over here, I guess it's better to have an h1 written, and over here you write props dot data set. Obviously now you're accessing that, and now you're going to access the inside object with the question, and that should just do the job. Props dot dataset dot questions, so that's fine, that's good. Questions fine, questionnaire, quiz area, so that's good. So within the quiz area, this is all good. In the answer list, obviously now we will need to again pass on the data set. So we're just going to copy and paste, and for now, that should be good enough. Next is we move on to the answers list. But before we move on to the answer list, I'm wondering why the question is not getting displayed. Question, wait, this, let's see. This looks good. This looks good. Props data set we have imported fine. So this is good. In the questionnaire, we were passing it like this. So let me just check. Is finished data set. This dot state dot data set. So that's also fine. I guess even if I go to quiz area, if props is finished, returns user greeting, and return question data. Okay, if in case if it's this question data set props dot data set, so that's also okay. It's fine. Let's try and check one more thing. Let's try and see this. Okay, so this is functional. The component is working. It's just in the question we have some sort of an issue. Let's just try and check a function question dataset props dot dataset dot question. Let's check. Seems fine. Okay, let's try and create some issue. Okay. Interesting. Let's try and continue, and we'll come back to it. That's okay. Props, we may have done some, you can say a silly mistake. Question. So that's okay. Props dot dataset dot question. That's fine. I'm still wondering what's the mistake over here. Questionnaire, good. Okay, we'll move ahead with the answer for now and then come back to it. In the answers, we will actually, in the answer list, we'll first import the answer, so that's okay. Now we're going to actually create sort of like, obviously we needed options over here. So we're going to call on the props again, and in the props, we will firstly declare a constant. We need to actually have count from, for the answers. And okay, so we'll use now for let I 0 I is less than props dot data set dot options, which is this one. And we are going to see the length of it, how much is the length. And I mean the loop is going to continue till that point, and I plus plus, and then our loop opens up. And over here within this array we're going to push in options dot push. And okay, so later on we're going to call it over here options option dot push. In that option we're going to push in the answer, and the choice is obviously the this particular one I is passing on. Then answer equals to your data which we will need to pass on. So props dot data set, and that's basically the option slash I. Okay, so that's fine. What we are doing is we are iterating over. So within this data set, this is option. So we, for this case, we had two options. For this case, we had three, and for this case, we had four. So obviously, we need to iterate through them. So let I equals to 0. So we start with the 0 index, then props dot data set dot options dot length, whatever is the length of that uh, you can say question option. So for example, if it's 3, run it like 0 1 2. If it's 2, then run 0 1. If it's 1, just run it 1 0. I plus plus option, we are just going to push it option dot push answer, which we have imported from over here. So choice is one prop, so that's your index, you can say. Answer, that is another one of your props. Props dot dataset dot option, and I guess we are good to go. Let's see what's the error over here. Okay, so let's just check. Maybe I have done a little mistake. Oh yes, I haven't closed the component, so now it should be good. So okay, good to go. The next thing is, don't worry about these for now. Okay, that cannot read length of undefined. It's okay, it's okay. For now, just leave it as it is. Okay, within the answer, we'll go inside, and we are going to actually create the button for that use. So button, it could be type button, and then within it, we are going to have the text which we got it from the props. So props dot answer, basically props dot answer. Now if you're going to see this, so we had this prop being passed inside the answer component, so we're just using it. Props, we will just call it. And I hope I have not, okay, I have used it over here, so that's okay. This is all good. Now and let's don't worry about all of this undefined. Obviously it's saying that there's no data set, so that is the reason. Okay, so questionnaire API data set dot js, maybe that is the reason. Okay, and that's okay. Let's just check. Let me just check. Hold on. Over here, if I say it's dataset question, and in the questionnaire API, I'm calling from the root, dataset is there, so that's okay. And what is the mistake I'm doing over here? That's let me check. Okay, okay, questions. Okay, I think maybe it's getting confused. Let me just rename it to questions. No, and repeat this, and let's see what happens. Data set. Uh, Maybe we call it questions. That's easier because of the same name. I guess there could be a confusion even, but okay, let's check. Uh, okay, so same. I guess the same error is causing the problem, which is why the questions were not appearing before even. So uh, let's just keep it like that. That's fine. So that's okay. I have this thing all good. Quiz area is there, is finished. I'm passing on the data set. Okay, I think I am actually doing a mistake over here. I'm not passing on the index, which is this current state. So I need to pass on this dot state dot. That is your current state. I want to start with a zero state. So that could be the reason why the error was coming. So I'll just revert everything. I guess that's the major problem I had. Name, it's okay. And I'll save it. Answer, answer list, questionnaire. Okay, data set, data set. This dot state dot data set, this dot state dot current, that's okay. So now I'm passing on the index, so that's completely fine. Now it's saying, okay, cannot read property zero of undefined. So that means so this is good. Actually, that index is getting passed on. So that's fine. We check now inside the quiz area what mistake we've been doing. So in the quiz area, we needed the question, we needed the answer list, we needed the greetings. Firstly, we check is if props is finished. Obviously, if it's finished, then we actually show in the user greetings. So that's good. That's fine. Then, in case if it's not true, then we go in at the bottom and we have a question dataset props dot dataset, and then we have an answer list. Let's just remove this for a bit and see inside. Okay, so now you can see this has started coming. So our first mistake was causing it, that we actually were not passing the current state, means the index. So let's suppose if I want to start with the 1, I will actually change it, and you will see that this particular one is appearing now. But we'll start with the 0, so we'll keep the current state to be 0 actually. So that's all good. So we will go back to our quiz area. We'll bring in the answers list. In the answers list, we are passing on the dataset again. We'll go into answers list and check the answers list now. In the answers list, we needed the answers to be imported, so that's good. Then we needed this for the expression, so that's there. For let I equals to 0, I is less than props dot dataset dot options dot length, and I plus plus options dot push, and we're pushing in okay, this thing. So this is completely fine. In the answer, we are pushing in choice, which is I. Then we're pushing in the answers props dot dataset dot options. Actually, that's the reason we have an error. Okay, so finally we have something as an output. So if we compare dataset, these were the 4 options, and this is our question. Okay, so this is good to go. Now, so we have our before we actually do the event handling, I'll just go in and actually will place in the text for, I'll create in the components for the score area as well. So in the score area, we had total correct and total incorrect. So that's, we're going to actually do some magic over here even now. From the score area, what you want to pass? You want to pass whether you had the correct and incorrect, and how can you actually get that data? Obviously we are this, so these states needs to be passed on. So we will first pass on correct equals to this dot state dot correct, and the other state is incorrect one. So we will copy that incorrect and we'll go on to incorrect state. So that's good. Now we'll go into score area and we'll use the correct over here as props, and where we'll pass props dot correct. And same goes for the other one. Incorrect equals to props dot incorrect. Just passing on the data, so you will start seeing the change. So in total correct case, we're going to have a class. We're going to convert into this, and we'll say correct. And over here, we're going to have it like props dot. We passed on only from score area. We passed on prop correct. So we're just going to go inside, call the props, and we're going to have here this thing called correct. I'm just going to replicate this for incorrect, and incorrect will be just incorrect over here, and over here we are going to add this and this pops. So we are all good to go. You are already seeing the score 0, 0, where it is coming from the questionnaire. So if you remember, we had corrects to be 0. So if we change it to 1, 1, then the scores will automatically be changed over here. So this is good. Next step, we're going to do event handling. And after that, obviously, some sort of styling we want to apply. So for event handling, let's just try and analyze this app where we require the events to be handled. So one is that whenever I click these buttons, something should happen. Somehow the score should get updated, and obviously the next question should appear. So in short, we need some sort of events over here, and obviously that means that some sort of way to actually change these state scores, you can say. That, if it's correct, then 1 is being added, and if it's incorrect, then to 0, to that incorrect state, the 1 gets added. So let's just start. So we come back to the questionnaire. In the questionnaire, we actually use what you call as, we create a one function that could be called as handle click. So handle click would be one function, and within that function we may want to pass on the choices, like what the user actually chose actually. So let's just pass on this as prop, this function handle click, and then within the handle click we are going to write down this dot handle click as the function. Now there is one more thing that because we're going to use it inside the elements as well. So we should actually do one more thing, which is to bind these functions. Handle click is equals to this dot handle click dot bind with this. I will actually share you what's the advantage of it. In another series, so that should be. But for now, just keep this line in mind that we need to actually write this in the handle click. What you are expected. So, for example, if someone choose answer 1, which could be matched against this particular value of the data set. And if it's matches, then you actually change the states accordingly. So let's just write this over here. So in the questionnaire, and I'll click. So just imagine we're getting the choice. And so if our choice is equals to this dot state dot data set, so we are accessing our data set. Now obviously to get the particular index, you are going to use this dot state dot current. So that is how we know this is our current state. Obviously it'll be changing later on, and then whatever is the correct value. So we are accessing the data set and the correct value. If they both matches, then you're going to write this dot set state, and we'll make now you're going to change the state. So correct, we will add the score to the correct. It's not correct becomes +1. And if it's incorrect, as simple as that, we are going to add it to incorrect one. So incorrect +1. So nothing too tough over here. For the other case, let's suppose if it's we had the state as well is finished, how we will know. So for example, when I click this, the value comes to me. So we had a length of 3 questions. So once it reaches 3, then there should be a way of we knowing that okay, the questionnaire has finished. So let's just do that. So if our current state, this dot state dot current, is becomes equals to this dot state dot data set, and then the length of it, which returns me the length -1. Remember that it's going to return US3. So we're going to actually make sure we just have because we started the state from 0. So that's the reason why we are minusing it. So if it's true, then that means we are about to finish set state, and is finished is finished equals to true. And if, for example, if it's not yet finished, then you are going to increase the counter. Current state one, this dot state dot current +1. So that should do the job. The next step should obviously be going inside and writing down, connecting this handle click. So we'll go in and do that. So in the quiz area, we go in, and in the answers list, we will actually pass on because we are handling the clicks within the answers list, and in the answers list, we are actually going to handle the click within answer component. So let's just pass on this as prop handle click, and we have props dot handle click. So that's fair enough. Let's just copy it once again, and in the basically answers list, we go now, and where we had this thing written as choice, we're going to pass it on as a prop again. So we're going to handle click props dot handle click. So where you can see from component to component, we are passing the data. Now saving it, move on, and over here in the answers component, we are going to handle everything, the click, and just basically pass on we'll return our choice. So okay, so on click event, going to create the expression, then going to use the arrow function, and props dot handle click. And now if you remember, we had the choice that we need to pass on. Props.choice, which is coming from, you can see is coming from here, props.choice. So that should just do the job. If we now go in and refresh, okay, nothing is happening. Let's see why. So on click, props.handle click, props.choice. So this is good. Then in the answers list, we had the handle click, handle click. So that's fine. We are passing on the props, so that's good. Now we go into the questionnaire and we see over here whether we are passing on the what you call as the handle click or not. Handle click, this dot handle click. In the handle click, we actually created a function, and within that we had the choice as in parameter. Choice this dot state data set, then the current value, and if it's correct, then you change it to, then you set the state to be correct and you add one. That's fine. Then set state incorrect, okay, fine. Then you had like this dot state dot correct is, then you are checking length, so that's fine. And then set state is finished true, it's all good. And so we're good to go. Now let's see what's the issue. Props handle click is not a function. Okay, let's just check that. It's coming where? Oops, it's all good. Let's see. Is not a function. Okay, maybe we have some issues. So handle click is right. And we go to quiz area, handle click, handle. Oops. Oh, that was error. Now, okay, that's fine. We go to answers list, handle click, handle click. So we had this silly mistake that we actually did. So all good. You can see the app working. So you had like a question, and so for example, inside which HTML element do we put the JavaScript? So we place it. The right answer is script. So you got correct one. The external JavaScript file must contain the script tag. True or false? Let's suppose if it's though it's true, but let's make it false. Okay, so it's like over there we mention it as true, I guess. That's the reason. Where is the correct place to insert JavaScript? So it should be both header. Okay, that's great. The question is right. Now, obviously, we need to style it. So the best way to style it is, obviously, I had the app.css already linked up. So I'm going to go and clean it up from my previous case. And okay, so we'll remove this. And we'll now start giving in some class names. So for example, in the answers, this button class name, we'll give it button answer. So that's one. Then this question that you had, in the question, we'll give it class name question. Okay, then this particular score area could be called as score wrapper, score wrapper, and this each one of them, correct or incorrect, could be h3 correct. We just call them correct for now, and this could be the incorrect case. User greeting is something that we also have programmed, so we will actually user greetings. That's something which appears in the end. Now let's try and actually apply the CSS. Open this, and let's try and apply some sort of styling. Okay, so I'm going to increase the font size a bit, make it 150. It's okay. Now let's start with this. So question, Font size 22 pixels looks better. Then within that, actually we had button, so display block, the auto width. Let's suppose we make it fixed width, and I'm gonna make it background to be green color, let's suppose, and color white, border none, and margin bottom 10 pixels. Little bit of padding will should make it look better, and a bit of border radius as well. So that should make it better. Okay, looking well. Font size, this looks good. Okay, on hover, I think the best is that let's use opacity, and I'll just make it 0.8, 0.9. The cursor is missing, so I'm going to write that, so that's good. In the score area, I'm gonna make it appear at the bottom. So position should be absolute. I'm gonna make it stick bottom. Width to be 100%, height to be 60 pixel, let's suppose, and background hashtag F5, F5, F5. So that's sticking over there. Well, that's good, and we make it everything to be centered. Now, okay, if I move down, I'm gonna remove this. No need for this. And on the correct, I'm gonna make it display in line block, vertically aligned, middle, and going to make it 0 p.m. maybe. Oops, sorry. That should be better. And in the incorrect one, when I do that, oops, 1M, that should do the job even. I think more or less this should be good. So let's see why this is not appearing. Okay, score wrapper, correct, score wrapper, absolute. Okay, that's the reason of the height was a reason. So that's the reason. We need to remove this particular div. So rest should be all good. Then they will come in parallel. Let's just go over here, copy paste everything from the style sheet, and we'll go to app.css. We'll paste it over here. So okay, this is good. Now when we refresh, let's see what happens. We are having a score area. So we go in over there. We remove the extra divs which were coming, so we don't need them. This one we don't need it either, so that's removed. It should come in parallel, so that's great. So if you see this, so that's working great. Okay, that's awesome. In the end, we are having a message. Let's just give it a message, some sort of like color. Not red, red. It could be like, oh, maybe I'll just make it a little fancy, call it blue color for now, and we'll save it. And that should make our app done. So just to recap everything, we use several components. Inside each components, we had like a parent-child relationships, the handling of the event. For the CSS, I used a central CSS file, and then just assign the classes. So that's pretty easy. And for the event handling, what I did was I used props and just kept on passing props inside till basically they reach the buttons. So on handle clicks, prop was passed for this function from the questionnaire. Sorry, from handle click was passed. Over here, the whole logic was written, and that's how it was working. And your challenge now is to actually I mean, you need to do one thing. That let's suppose someone reaches incorrect too. So rather than prompting users greeting, you should tell them, oh, you passed or failed. If it's like because we had three questions, maybe the passing score is 2. So if the incorrect is 2, then you just let them know you failed. And if user correct statements are like number of statements are like 2, you just tell them you passed. And how you can do this, let me just give you a hint. So just like this is finished true, you're going to pass on the scores even. So in where you having the quiz area, so pass on the current scores even. So right now on the data set, handle click is finished. Maybe you pass on the current and correct and incorrect to the quiz area. When you have in the quiz area, you just um, do the changes over here in the user's greeting, and you probably create another component and do the pass and the fail stuff. So that's your challenge.